Love lives here.
So here at Centers for Spiritual Living Worldwide, we have been working with a theme this year of living everyday wonder. And we have been exploring this theme through various aspects of our lives, through 11 different aspects of our lives. And this month, we are focused on the aspect of community. And I've got little itty-bitty things up here that I'm stepping on and rolling across the floor. So if I Scooby-Doo up here, just come save me. So. Or laugh. Yeah, or laugh. That works too. So we've been working with this theme, and this month we are working with the theme of community. And today I chose the title, Together We Rise, because this month I've really been thinking about how we show up as a community for one another and how we show up in the community out in the world. So let's talk about community for a little bit. Right? So, what is the power of community? Not a rhetorical question. What is the power of community? Folks online, support. What else? What else is the power of community? What? Cooperation, connection, love, collaboration, more C's. Commitment, caring. Wow, lots of C's, right? That's really, the power of community. When we come together in community, a special spiritual community, then what we're doing is we're saying, yes, we're committing to one another to help each other grow, to help each other expand, to help each other deepen in our spiritual evolvement and our spiritual evolution, if you will, through practicing together, through studying together, through loving each other, through connecting with one another, perhaps over coffee and snackies later on, through our small groups that we offer. We offer classes and workshops and all kinds of opportunities, fun activities like the Spirit of Art auction that we had earlier this year, or our 80th anniversary that we just celebrated. We have all kinds of ways of gathering together in community, and we have ways of gathering together in community and going out and serving our larger community, yes, and sharing our love, sharing our presence, sharing who we are out into the larger world, the way we are doing with Sylvia's Serenity Home, and the children and the women that find shelter there as they escape from domestic violence situations and other situations that have caused them to have to leave home for whatever reason. And they are finding a home, they're finding a community there. So our community is helping another community of women and children find safety and security, find a place to call home, find a place to connect with one another. This is the power of community, right? And there is the African proverb that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. You go together as a community. Because if you think of just even one strand of like one string, one thin string, well, that string might be tough, it might be a little tough, but you can easily break it, right? But if you wind strings together, you form a rope, which has much greater strength, yes? Or if you weave strings together, you weave threads. If you weave threads together, right? If you're weaving threads together, you create a fabric, you create a tapestry, you create strength in community that helps bolster one another. It is the strings working together. It is the people working together to create a community, to create a fabric that supports and bolsters the community itself. Yes? So coming together in community offers us the opportunity as well that if we are coming, as we did earlier this week on Wednesday and then again yesterday, if we are coming together in sorrow or sadness, then when we come together and share that with one another and share it in community, then the community can work together and be stronger together to support one another, to support its members, to support its friends, to support its family. It can support. And then the burden, the weight, the struggle is less, would you say? Has that been your experience? It's certainly been mine. There have been times this year that I've struggled. This year we've been working with that theme of living everyday wonder and looking for the wonder in the everyday moment, looking for the wonder in the beautiful tree outside, looking for the wonder in the rain, looking for the blessings, experiencing the wonder, experiencing the joy, experiencing the miracles, or what we would call normicals. When we're living in alignment, they become normicals. They don't seem so strange and what have you, but yet we sometimes forget the miraculous is happening all the time. When we see a flower bloom, the twinkle of a light, the full moon, we can see the miraculous in all of it if we're paying attention. But sometimes it's hard to see the miraculous. Sometimes it's hard to see the normal, if you will. And it's in those times, rather than withdrawing from community, rather than wanting to sit at home and watch reruns of NCIS, as wonderful as that might be, it is in those times when struggle is greatest or pain is hardest or sharpest or what have you. It is precisely those times that instead of withdrawing from community, we have the opportunity to lean into community, to really step in and lean in and be supported. I know some of us have that feeling that we're always having to take care of somebody else, and so letting somebody take care of us can sometimes feel like, oh, I don't want to be a burden, or, oh, I don't want to be needy, or, oh, then that shows a sign of weakness. No, beloveds, that is a sign of strength. And I know of that which I speak. I was trying to do it on my own earlier this year, and I couldn't anymore. I couldn't anymore. I took the 6 weeks off. I took the vacation, partly because I needed a vacation and partly because my beloveds around me said, you need to take the vacation. And I said, okay, and I surrendered. And I came back, rested to a certain degree, and I came back realizing that I need to lean into my community. I need to lean into my spiritual community. I need to lean into my friends. I need to lean into the practitioners. I need to lean into everybody who's in service, because this community, as we've been saying since I first arrived here almost 5 years ago, is our community. It's not Reverend Jeffrey's community. It's our community. And I had begun to forget that. I began an old pattern of taking on a lot of responsibility that was established very early in childhood. And when I woke up and realized, wait a minute, this is, no, I did not want this. I did not sign up for this. When we started talking, 5 years ago, it's just like, it's ours, it's not mine. And yet, I've made it about myself. At least the way I show up and what I feel I need to take on. No. So I failed to keep a commitment with myself. I failed to keep the commitment to myself to do things differently, to do things more broadly, to do things and be supported, to be really vulnerable and allow others to step in and step up. So no more. I am still here. I'm not going anywhere. But I am allowing, encouraging, wanting, begging, pleading, whatever you want to call it, needing all of us to step up. Because together we rise. There can't be just one pulling or one pushing or a small group, as Jeannie mentioned in her practitioner perspective this month, of a small group pushing or pulling or moving and trying to make things happen and trying to create the community. We, beloveds, we create the community. And I get to remind myself of that fact too, that it's we, not me, it's we. We get to create community. I get to allow myself to be supported in what supports me too. If I am part of this community, if I'm part of the hour, then it's an opportunity for me to lean in and allow the community to support me as well in my times of need and my times of struggle. And as we know that there's only one, so if it's true of me, it's true of each of you here today too, and each of you online, and each of you who is part of Riverside Center for Spiritual Living in any shape, manner, or form. This is an opportunity, beloveds, to lean into the community, to lean in. Say, hey, Mike, I need some help. You want to go get coffee? Hey, Dorcel, let's go have a donut. Whatever, right? To lean in and say, hi. And conversely, we have the other end of things too. It doesn't always have to be when we're struggling, right? But when we're struggling, then the community helps lift each one up. Agreed? Yes. So when the community lifts each one up, and when we have joys, which we do often too, when we have joys, the community is also the place to share the joys. Because what happens when we share our joy? It multiplies, it expands, it grows. So when it's a burden, then it's diffused and distributed, right? So that it's eased. But yet when it's joy, it's magnified, it's glorified, it's praised, it's raised. It's magnificent. So when I see Sally walk through the door in the morning, dancing and smiling and singing, her joy is infectious. I sit up here and I'm just like, yay, Sally's here, right on. Today is a good day. When each of you walk through the door, I'm excited to see you walk through the door because today is a good day. My community is here. My people are here. The joy is present. The love is present. And I know you feel that too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be online. You wouldn't be in the room. You feel it. We share our joys. That's part of what makes being together in community after service in the social hall so much fun. We have the opportunity to talk with each other, to share with one another, to get to know each other better, to share our joys, to ask for assistance if we need it, right? It's fantastic to be in community together. So this year, as I mentioned, we have been working with Living Everyday Wonder. And at the beginning of the year, you received this Living Everyday Wonder wheel, the Wheel of Life tool. And I asked you just to take a brief assessment of where you were in your life back in January, in each area of your life that we've worked with for the year. And so you have the opportunity to put a dot on each line there with the furthest dot out is like, woo, I'm having a great life in this area. This area of my life is freaking fantastic. It is so good. And if the point was a little bit closer to the center of the wheel, it's like, this is an area of my life that, could need a little more attention or a little more love, a little more awareness, a little more mindfulness, perhaps, a little more focus, a little area that I want to work on. And then I asked you to plot, to draw a circle and connect the dots, like the old connect the dots, right? And then I invited you to look at it. I was like, okay, so how well does your wheel roll? Does it go ka-thump, 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 ka-thump? Or does it rolling, right? How does it roll, right? So hopefully, after 12 months, essentially, of working with living everyday wonder and applying the tools and the techniques and the spiritual practices that we've been sharing with you every week, and for those of you who are in the men's group or the women's group and or other small groups who've been working with the discussion questions, or the journal prompts, if you want to look at them as journal prompts, who've been working with those, perhaps you've also discovered new things through that as well. So if you've been applying the tools and you have been working with any of the questions, hopefully, over the course of this year, you've been able to live everyday wonder a little bit more. And you've been able to share it in community. So what I would invite you to do is today's tool, go ahead and mark today's tool, then go back to the one from January, because I know you have it. Yes, I know you have it. Except for 2 people who weren't here at the beginning of the year. So this can be your baseline, okay? So, because we'll do it again next year. So this will be your baseline. So go ahead and plot where you are. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go home and I want you to look. I want you to compare. I want you to see how you've grown, because I know, beloveds, you have grown. You are different today than you were almost 12 months ago. Your life has changed. You have evolved. Just by being in the presence of the community and participating at whatever level you have been participating in, I know that there has been movement, there has been shift, there has been growth. I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact. And so I want to share with you that coming up in 2023, we are going to, the theme that we're going to use in 2023, that we're going to explore in 2023, is this one. Riverside, thrive. Live your best life. Riverside, thrive. Live your best life. Woohoo! Yes. All right. Dinah's excited about it? Yes. All right. So in Riverside Thrive, live your best life. We're going to build upon what we've been doing this year with Living Everyday Wonder, looking at how we've been applying wonder and exploration in direct practical application of spiritual principles and tools. We're going to build upon that, and we're going to go deeper. Because I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired of surviving. Are you tired of surviving? Would you like to thrive instead? Yes, yes. Even if you feel like you're thriving, would you like to thrive more? Because you can still thrive more. There's no limit to thriving. Would you like to thrive more? Yes. Would you like to live your best life? Rather than just, okay, well, I'm living an okay life. I'm living a mediocre life. I'm living a good life. Would you like to live your best life? Yes. All right. Fantastic. So we are together as a community. We are going to be exploring living your best life, or live your best life. So I promised you a preview in the email that went out this week. So one of the areas that we're going to be looking at is living into your vision. We talk about vision here a lot, especially me, because, I'm the chair of the visioning team. But we talk about living into so this year, what I'm going to share with you, this coming year, what I'm going to share with you is part of the techniques and technology that I've created in addition to or above and beyond straight up visioning. We've introduced you to visioning. You have an idea that, Spirit has the high idea for your life, and then we can ask what must be released, what must be embraced, is there anything else to be known, and then we can take action, right? But that question is how to take action there has been a piece that's been missing for a while. And so over the past few years, I've been working to create a technology, to create a way, to create a technique to be able to really move from vision into living it, living the action, aligning yourself with the action. So I'm going to share that with you in the coming year. And I guarantee you're going to thrive as a result. No money back, though. So if you apply it, you can't help but thrive it. Okay? We're also going to look at what it means to live above the line. That every moment of every day and all of our interactions, we have the choice, we have the power to either operate what's called above the line or operate below the line. Operating above the line leads to greater prosperity, greater joy, greater happiness, greater peace, greater love. Living below the line leads to greater misery, more anger, more yucky, more bleh. So where do you want to live? Above or below the line? Above the line, right? So we're going to talk about how to live above the line. There's 15 different lessons there in how to live above the line. And then we're going to move into thriving in freedom. Sound good too, right? Thriving, yes? All right. We have classes coming up in spring, in winter and spring. We'll be looking at living beyond limits. So that's the Beyond Limits class that has been shifted a little bit. So we're looking at living beyond limits. Yes, we have boundaries and limitations that are helpful, but there are so many boundaries and limitations that we have that we've set upon ourselves that keep us small. To keep us like, I don't want to be big. I don't want to play large. I don't want that in my life, right? I say I want it, but I don't, right? So this living beyond limits will be the first class that we offer, and then we're going to follow that up with living your word. In other words, we're going to share with you the technology of how to really speak your word. In other words, what we say here is affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, to really use that methodical form of prayer that we teach to speak your word, to live your word, to live into it. And watch the changes, watch what happens through that. And then we have walking the roads to truth, which Dinah's going to be teaching in summer. It'll be walking the roads to truth, where you'll have the opportunity to look back at the history of what we call this New Thought movement and how the history of the New Thought movement evolved and how it continues to inform and continues to evolve here and now. Because when we know where we came from, then it is easier to see where we're going or how we got to where we are so that we can then make better choices as to how we're moving forward. So these are all opportunities that are coming up. But first, in January, we have a workshop that Jeannie is sponsoring called The Little Prince. Learnings from the Little Prince, or lessons from the Little Prince that she's bringing to us in January, which will be a fantastic opportunity to take that beautiful children's story and really apply the metaphysical teachings or the metaphysical experiences and expressions in that book, and then really begin to apply it to your life. The other thing we have coming up in January, as you know, that we are partners with Blackfulness, which is a mindfulness app that was created by and for Black folks with the idea of inclusion as well. So we have the two creators of the Blackfulness app. They will be here at the end of January to share mindfulness, and for our leadership the day before, Saturday the day before, they're going to be doing a leadership workshop leading change through mindfulness. So that'll be available to the leadership of the community. And then the next day, Reverend Sonia Russell will be here speaking, and then they will do a wonderful workshop for us. So we have this great opportunity to lean in together, to learn together, to express together, to see and to grow together, and to thrive together, and to live our best life yet. Because what I know is that when each one of us begins living our better life, our best life, as each one begins to make the shifts and the changes of living your better and best life, your highest potential, when each one of us does that, then the whole community begins to do that as well. Each one of us serves as an inspiration, but each one of us begins to lift each other up in this. So it's time, Riverside. We've been surviving for a really long time. And then when I arrived, we stabilized, and we moved forward a little bit. And I kind of feel like it's time for the next big leap. How about you? Yeah, I think it's time for our next big leap. So that's why we're focused this year, this coming year, 2023, Riverside Thrive, live your best life. Let's hear it. Riverside Thrive, live your best life. Amen. Feels so good. I am so excited. And I wanted to share this with you now because I know that we are in the season of giving. I know that we are in this holiday season. And I know you're like, wait a minute, it's not even Christmas yet. Do we have to talk about next year? Yeah, we got to talk about next year. Because next year is just a couple weeks away, too. And it's so exciting. It's so exciting. So I wanted to bring this joy, this togetherness, the Together We Rise to you today with this new theme today so that you can begin to incorporate it into your holiday celebrations this year, however you're celebrating. Because it is absolutely powerful to be together in community. And so I know, my beloveds, that as we continue to say yes to each other, as we continue to say yes to the community, together we rise. And so I invite our beloveds I invite our core council and our practitioners to please stand and surround the sanctuary as our band makes their way up. And Casey, that means you and Coco too. It's so wonderful to have Casey Wilson with us, practitioner Casey Wilson with us. She usually joins us online from Hawaii or from Oregon, depending on where she is in the world. And so it's so great to have her home here in Riverside this Sunday as well. So welcome home, Casey. All right, so let's come together in consciousness, come together in that affirmative prayer, that spiritual mind treatment that I just spoke of, that spiritual tool that we know works when we work it. And so we gather here this day, and we open up recognizing that there is just the one power, the one presence, the one infinite eternal that is all, through all, as all. It is spirit, it is joy, it is love, it is abundance. It withholds nothing. Nothing was ever withheld. It's always ever giving of itself. It is the ever givingness of spirit that Ernest Holmes called love. So we know that nothing is ever withheld, that it is perpetually creating, it is eternally abundant, it is eternally giving of itself generously as love, as life, as joy, as peace, as harmony, as comfort, as compassion, as itself. And it being all that there is, I recognize that I am one with it, that I am inseparable from it. That right where I am, the power and the presence of love is, the power and presence of life is, the power and the presence of joy is, the power and the presence of abundance is. Therefore, I know that I must thrive. There is nothing standing, there's nothing being withheld from me that would keep me from my good, my highest good. And as I know that this is true of me, I know that this is true of this beloved community, of each one gathered here this day, of each one who has ever walked through these doors, and of all those living beyond these walls, no matter where they are in the universe. Each one is the power and the presence of the divine. Each one is love made manifest. Each one is joy and abundance made manifest. And nothing is ever withheld. Good is always available. And so I speak my word here and now for this beloved community, recognizing that we come together. Together we rise into our greater expression. Together we rise into our greater yet to be. Together we rise in community, in that common unity, the one unity that is life, that is love, that is spirit itself. We rise together and we begin to live our best life now. We don't have to wait for it. We don't have to think that it happens later or in some other time, in some other space, in some other dimension. It happens right now. It's available right now. Our best life is available to us right here and right now. Because there is only one now, there is only one moment, and that is the eternal now, the eternal present. There is no past, there is no future, there is the eternal present now. And so I know that it is done now. We live our best lives now, in this moment, in the absolute perfection and completeness and wholeness of this moment, we live our best lives. And so we awake and we open and we avail ourselves to the consciousness that is. And this moment leads to the next and the next and the next. And oh, how glorious and magnificent it is to be in community together, to share together in this truth, in this knowing. And I simply let it be, releasing this word into the law, assured of its completion. And together we affirm, and so it is.
Love